Hi everybody, how is everyone? So I'm Charlotte, I'm the fertility coach. If you haven't watched me before or you're new, welcome. So just to begin with, people often say, where can I find you? So on Facebook, I'm the fertility coach. On Instagram, I'm Fertility Coach UK, and on YouTube, my channel is Charlotte the Fertility Coach. So if you haven't got one of them, then go over and follow them, because I do tend to share different things on different platforms. So what I wanted to talk about today was what fertility coaching is all about and what it does, because generally people will say, oh, you know, it could help me, it's something I've struggled with myself, but not always understanding what it is, so, or how it can help. So fertility coaching, first of all, is about the emotional support that we need, and I'm a huge believer in that. So it's about the emotional support, it's about, so many people say to me, I feel so much better getting everything off my chest and being able to have someone to talk to about it. So that is a really big element of it. So there's that, and it's also getting everything off your chest but in a constructive way. So yes, I do have clients, and you know, I'll quite welcome and rant or cry or whatever you need to do to get it off your chest, but it's about getting it off your chest in a constructive way. And us, you know, for example, if you've got a friend, you generally tend to just get it off your chest and that's it. What we tend to do in your coaching sessions is to discuss everything, get it all off your chest, get those emotions and those feelings and that rawness out of the way, and then start to break it down and analyse it. Why do you feel that way? Is that something? And I would say over 90% of the time, most people will say, okay, well, it's linked to something else. So, and it's normally linked to something to do with childhood, or a previous relationship or previous trauma, or it links to feelings of not having self-love, self-worth, self-respect. So it can generally hit on something that has been in the past before, and we've buried it and buried it and buried it, and then haven't had anything since. We've never done anything with it, we've never dealt with it, and then it's come to trying to conceive, and straight away it's homed in on our insecurities and our vulnerable points, because that's what it does. So if you are a person that doubts yourself in a certain area of your life, like for example, we're going to say self-worth, when it comes to trying to conceive, it's going to home straight in on that. So it's going to bring all of those emotions up. And number one rule I say to people is, unless you deal with it, you are just carrying that baggage around. And even when the time comes, and if the time comes that you get pregnant and have your healthy, happy baby, you are still going to be carrying that baggage around. So unless you learn to get it off your chest, get those emotions out, get those feelings out, break them down, analyse them, and some of them, yes, will have to go back in there, because it's something that we're not just going to forget, but it's almost like us bundling it back up into a tinier package, a much more neat package, wrapping it up much better, analysing it, understanding it, and then sometimes we do have to put it back. Sometimes we can just get rid of that extra baggage. So that's the first thing, the emotional side of it. The knowledge side of it is, I think, to be honest, I think most people generally think about the emotional side of it, and I get it, it's an emotional thing, but the knowledge tends to be the thing that people underestimate, how much knowledge they're going to get. And if you watch me on any of my platforms, you'll know that I always say the best thing I can recommend is to build a chapter, build your book, and build your chapters of yourself, of your knowledge, of your diagnosis, of what's happening. So that is the thing that I can tell you that you'll take away, the knowledge that you'll have about yourself, about your condition, what you need to do, where you're going to go, what you need to do to move forward, what the next step is. And also things that, for example, I had a lady who came to me who was having recurrent miscarriages, and they hadn't been able to find out why. And when I went through the tests that she'd had, there was one that she hadn't had. And I said, you need to request for this test. And she said, okay, why? And I said, well, it affects the blood cells, and basically the blood cells can be attacking your baby. And it wasn't that someone had purposely missed this test out, it was just it's not one of the standard tests that are done. And it turned out that was it, and it was controlled by a medication. And I've already asked her if I can share that on this video, and it's fine, and obviously I won't give any other details other than that. But it's knowing what tests to ask for, knowing what scans to ask for, knowing what we are doing and why. And that's what I say, if when I got to the stage where I got really shit hot on what I was taking and why, and I wasn't just taking a tablet because it was advertised that it could help me get pregnant or help me ovulate, I knew exactly why, I knew exactly the ingredient in it and what it was going to do to my body. So the knowledge is, I would say, to begin with, the most underestimated part of the programme. And the emotional tends to take over, but then when we deal with the emotional first, because that's what we do, we then go into the knowledge and then go into planning and what we're going to do. So there's always three parts of this. So it's the emotional and the past and your feelings, and that takes up a big chunk of it, because obviously we need to get that down and we need to get that under control before we can move forward with the knowledge and the planning and all of that. But there are so many parts and so many elements to the programme that we do. So they are 100% tailored and flexible to you. I have a framework for both programmes because we do an 8 and a 12-week programme. And we have a framework of roughly what we discuss. Now, when you sign up to join with me, we'll go through the framework and a plan. And then at the end of each session, we talk about where your feelings are, because there's no point us not dealing with something, for example, in the past, and just going, oh, well, it's written down next week that we're going to talk about, I don't know, intimacy or your relationship or your sex life or whatever it may be, but we haven't actually dealt with that. So the whole way through both the 8 and the 12-week programmes, we have a constant review. And the great thing about those programmes, especially the 12-week one, is that we have a really good time to reflect on the previous months, and if you ovulated, what you did, how we tracked it, what happened, and we can build up by the end of it this 8-week or 12-week worth of knowledge, this book for you to be able to start to grow and learn from. So that is what the coaching can do for you. Now, on top of that, you can change sessions to hypnotherapy. So we can do fertility, intimacy, IVF. So with IVF, there's a pre and post IVF. There's a failed IVF one. Unfortunately, some people need that. There's miscarriage. There's trauma, PTSD. There's so many. And I also do hypnotherapy because when I trained for hypnotherapy purely for this business, and I was only ever going to do hypnotherapy just to do with this. But what I realised was a lot of the time things are based around anxiety, stress, our emotions, things that have happened in the past. A lot of it's from childhood. So I'm qualified to do all hypnotherapy. So it hasn't only got to be that we deal with just fertility, because this is getting ourselves to a point, our bodies, mind, body, heart, soul, spirit, to a point where we can move forward. So I'm not going to say, oh, well, that's not to do with fertility, that was from your childhood and that's to do with parents or a previous relationship or previous job, or so we're just not going to deal with that, because we deal with it as a whole. So it's not that we just go, oh, well, that's not to do with fertility, so we're not going to deal with that. So it's really getting yourself forward to where we can draw a line and everything and go, right, now we're going to start, but now we're going to be in control, we're going to make some decisions and we're going to see what happens, and we're going to take control of every element of it that we can. With fertility and infertility, especially if you are going through treatment, there will always be an element of not having the control, and it's something I've really struggled with myself. But what we do and what me and you do together is move forward and hold hands and control everything that we possibly can together. And the things that we can't, we learn to let go of that and allow someone else to control that and have faith and confidence in that. So that's just a little snippet of what the fertility coaching can be. But if you want to know more, if you want to know what your plan would sort of look like and how we would tailor it to you, then please get in touch with me on Facebook, Instagram or YouTube. Thank you.